Welcome to my little corner of the internet, where we celebrate creativity and growth. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of insects in literature. Insects have appeared in literature from classical times to the present day, an aspect of their role in culture more generally. Insects represent both positive qualities like cooperation and hard work, and negative ones like greed. Among the positive qualities, ants and bees represent industry and cooperation, from the Book of Proverbs and Aesop's fables to tales by Beatrix Potter. Insects, including the dragonfly, have symbolized harmony with nature, while the butterfly has represented happiness in springtime in Japanese haiku, as well as the soul of a person who has died. Insects have equally been used for their strangeness and alien qualities, with giant wasps and intelligent ants threatening human society in science fiction stories. Locusts have represented greed, and more literally plague and destruction, while the fly has been used to indicate death and decay, and the grasshopper has indicated improvidence. The horsefly has been used from classical times to portray torment, appearing in a play by Aeschylus and again in Shakespeare's King Lear and Antony and Cleopatra. The mosquito has a similar reputation. In this chapter, we'll be unraveling the enigma of overview and discovering its transformative power. Insects play important roles in around 100 novels and 100 short stories in English literature. They are used to portray both positive and negative qualities, more usually negative, including entrapment, stinging, being rapacious, and swarming. They are common in fantasy and especially in science fiction, often as the earthly or alien villains. Detective novels sometimes use insects as unexpected murder weapons. A fly on the wall is used as a voyeur to tell erotic stories in R. Chopping's The Fly and the anonymous autobiography of a flea. Franz Kafka made use of the strangeness of insect metamorphosis in his novella The Metamorphosis, as have several authors since. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind industriousness and cooperation and gain a deeper understanding. Anthropomorphized ants have often been used in fables, children's stories, and religious texts to represent industriousness and cooperative effort. In the Book of Proverbs, ants are held up as a good example for humans for their hard work and cooperation. Aesop did the same in his fable The Ant and the Grasshopper. Some modern authors have used ants to comment on the relationship between society and the individual, as with Robert Frost in his poem Departmental and T.H. White in his fantasy novel The Once and Future King. Beatrix Potter's illustrated 1910 children's book The Tale of Mrs. Titlomouse features the busy bumblebee Babbity Bumble and her brood. Let's now enter the realm of harmony with nature and discover the fascinating stories it has to tell. The poet W.B. Yeats wrote The Lake Isle of Innisfree 1888 with the honeybee couple 9 Bean Rose will I have there a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bedowed glade, while he was living in Bedford Park, London. Lafcadio Hearn wrote in his 1901 book A Japanese Miscellany that Japanese poets had created dragonfly haiku almost as numerous as are the dragonflies themselves in the early autumn. The poet Matsuru Bash wrote haiku such as Crimson Pepper Pod had 2 pairs of wings, and Look Darting Dragonfly, relating the autumn season to the dragonfly. Horibatsu similarly wrote Dyed he is with the color of autumnal days, O red dragonfly. The poet Alfred Lord Tennyson described a dragonfly splitting its old skin and emerging shining metallic blue like sapphire male in his 1842 poem The Two Voices, with the lines, an inner impulse rent the veil of his old husk, from head to tail came out clear plates of sapphire male. The novelist H. East Bates described the rapid, agile flight of dragonflies in his 1937 non-fiction book Down the River. In this section, we'll be deep diving into the spirit world, unraveling its complexities and uncovering valuable insights. In the traditional Navajo religion, Big Fly is an important spirit being. Lafcadio Hearn's essay Butterflies analyses the treatment of the butterfly in Japanese literature, both prose and poetry. He notes that these often allude to Chinese tales, such as of the young woman that the butterflies took to be a flower. Among the brief 17-syllable Japanese haiku poems about butterflies, of which he translates 22, one by the haiku master Matsuobashi is said to suggest happiness in springtime. Wake up, he will make thee my comrade, thou sleeping butterfly. Another compares the butterfly's shape to a Japanese silk upper dress, the hari being taken off. A third says they look to be girls of about 17 or 18 years old. Hearn Rittles, too, the old story of a man who dies after 50 years alone, having mourned his sweetheart Akiko Dei all that time. As he dies, a very large white butterfly entered the room and perched upon the sick man's pillow. The man smiles in death. Then it must have been Akiko, says an old woman who knew him. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of strange and alien beings as we dive into its profound implications. Insects have repeatedly been used in literature as strange or alien beings. Sir John Tenniel drew a famous illustration of Alice meeting a caterpillar for Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, c. 1865. The caterpillar is seated on a toadstool and is smoking a hookah pipe. The image can be read as showing either the forelegs of the larva or as suggesting a face with protruding nose and chin. H.G. Wells wrote about intelligent ants destroying human settlements in Brazil and threatening human civilization in his 1905 science fiction short story, The Empire of the Ants. He made use of giant wasps in his 1904 novel The Food of the Gods and How It Came to Earth. In 1917, the ghost story author Algernon Blackwood wrote An Egyptian Hornet, about a beast at once alarming and beautiful. From a distance he examined this intrusion of the devil. It was calm and very still. It was wonderfully made, both before and behind. Its wings were folded upon its terrible body. Long, sinuous things, pointed like temptation, barbed as well, stuck out of it. There was poison, and yet grace, in its exquisite presentment. The story contrasts the reactions to the threat of the churchman, the Reverend James Milligan, and the depraved Mr. Mullins. The science fiction writer Eric Frank Russell's 1957 Wasp has its protagonist, James Morey, as a wasp terrorist, a small but deadly Terran human force in the Syrian Empire's midst. As we progress, let's zoom in on greed and examine its role in shaping our overall narrative. Devouring plagues of locusts are mentioned in literature throughout history. The ancient Egyptians carved locusts on tombs in the period 2470 to 2020 BC, and a devastating plague is mentioned in the Book of Exodus in the Bible, as taking place in Egypt around 1300 BC. Plagues of locusts are also mentioned in the Quran. Eric Carle's children's book The Very Hungry Caterpillar portrays the larva as an extraordinarily hungry animal. Turning our focus to self-importance, let's explore its key elements. The impertinent insect is a group of 5 fables, sometimes ascribed to Aesop, concerning an insect which may be a fly, gnat, or flea, and which puffs itself up to seem important. In this section, we'll be shedding light on death and decay and its impact on our understanding of the subject. In the biblical 4th plague of Egypt, flies represent death and decay. Migros was a god in Greek mythology who chased away flies during the sacrifices to Zeus and Athena. Zeus sent a fly to bite Pegasus, causing Bellerophon to fall back to earth when he attempted to ride the winged steed to Mount Olympus. Emily Dickinson's 1855 poem I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died refers to flies in the context of death. In William Golding's 1954 novel Lord of the Flies, the fly is a symbol of the children involved. As we progress, let's zoom in on improvidence and examine its role in shaping our overall narrative. One of Aesop's fables, the tale of the ant and the grasshopper. The ant works hard all summer, while the grasshopper plays. In winter, the ant is ready but the improvident grasshopper starves. Somerset Maugham's short story The Ant and the Grasshopper explores the fable's symbolism via complex framing. Let's transition to unfaithfulness and uncover its significance. Other human weaknesses besides improvidence have become identified with the grasshopper's behavior. So an unfaithful woman hopping from man to man is a grasshopper, an 1892 short story by Anton Chekhov, and in the films called The Grasshopper by Samson of 1955 and Jerry Paris 1970 based on that story. Let's now zoom in on torment and uncover the hidden gems that lie within. The ancient Greek playwright Aeschylus has a gadfly pursue and tormentio, a maiden associated with the moon, watched constantly by the eyes of the herdsman Argus, associated with all the stars. Ha! Again the prick, the stab of gadfly sting. O earth, earth, hide, the hollow shape Argus that evil think 100-eyed. William Shakespeare, inspired by Aeschylus, has Thomas Bedlam in King Lear, whom the foul fiend hath led through fire and through flame, through ford and whirlpool, or bog and quagmire, driven mad by the constant pursuit. In Antony and Cleopatra, Shakespeare likens Cleopatra's hasty departure from the Actium battlefield to that of a cow chased by a gadfly. The breeze upon her, like a cow in June, hoists sail and flies, where June may allude not only to the month but also to the goddess Juno who torments Io, and the cow in turn may allude to Io, who is changed into a cow in Ovid's Metamorphose. The physician and naturalist Thomas Muffet wrote that the horsefly carries before him a very hard, stiff, and well-compacted sting, with which he strikes through the ox's hide. He is in fashion like a great fly, and forces the beasts for fear of him only to stand up to the belly in water, or else to betake themselves towards sides, cool shades, and places where the wind blows through. The blue-tail fly in the eponymous song was probably the mourning horsefly Tabanus itritus, a tabanid with a blue-black abdomen common to the southeastern United States. Mosquitoes have been part of oral lore, and even of told jokes, and from folklore pronouncing the origin of the mosquito, and depicting its relation to a blood-sucking monster. Contemporary work has been written and illustrated. The Tlingit legend how mosquitoes came to be expresses the never-ending torment inflicted by the mosquito. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this video.